Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Tuesday, 9th January 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group, is the region can look forward to higher freight costs as cargo ships report attacks in the Red Sea. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Shipping prices to rise as attacks in the Red Sea continues. More from Javon Keys of TVJ's Business Day.
Shipping prices are rising after a missile attack and attempted hijacking of a Maersk ship this weekend. Reuters is reporting that this prompted carriers to suspend plans to restart transits through the Red Sea, a key linkage to the vital Suez Canal trade route. The attacks are already delaying delivery of products destined for numerous companies, as the Suez route is used by the likes of U.S. brands such as IKEA, Walmart, and Amazon. Now, Asia to North Europe rates more than doubled to about $4,000 per 40-foot container this week, with Asian to Mediterranean prices climbing to $5,175, according to Freightos, a booking and payments platform for international freight. Now, some carriers have announced rates above $6,000 per 40-foot container. Now, the rates to less affected North American ports are also moving higher. Up to 30% of cargo that arrives at the U.S. East Coast travels through the Suez Canal. Now, if this continues, consumers here in Jamaica could also reel from the effects of higher costs for goods due to shipping. This is also compounding the higher shipping rates for cargo coming through the Panama Canal, as ships have to be spaced due to drought conditions in that region.
In the meantime, there is a growing concern in the region that the attacks on shipping cargo vessels in the Red Sea could have an impact on supply chain, thereby increasing global inflation. The concern also reverberated in St. Kitts and Nevis as recently as last month. Members of the Chamber of Commerce at a Chamber Christmas luncheon were told of these attacks emanating from the Palestinian-Israel conflict and that they could have an impact on the inflation in St. Kitts and Nevis. Andre Huey of SKN News reports.
There is a growing concern in the region that the attacks on shipping cargo vessels in the Red Sea could have an impact on the supply chain, thereby increasing global inflation. That concern was reverberated here in St. Kitts and Nevis as recently as last month, as Patricia Welsh, policy advisor at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, told members of the Chamber of Commerce at the Chamber's Christmas luncheon that these attacks emanating from the Palestinian-Israel conflict could have an effect on inflation in St. Kitts and Nevis.
If you were following the news, you would realize that the Red Sea is a very lucrative part for ships to bring cargo from the north to the south, which would impact us. And what did the Houthis in the Yemen say? Any ship that is passing through those straits, whether it's to go to Israel, back or forth, they're going to attack. What does that do? So if you are an insurance company and you are insuring those ships, you know all of a sudden your cost of insurance for ships going through there will go up. And what is that going to happen? Okay, freight cost is going to go up, and so you have all of the other costs is going to go up. So as an employer, as a business who is into the manufacturing, retail and sale, that is something that is going to happen. And that is why inflation is persistent. It is not going away.
Ms. Welsh is not the only person in the Caribbean expressing concerns. Also last month, Senior Minister in Barbados, Kerry Simmons, sounded the alarm about the attacks on merchant ships while speaking on the floor of Parliament.
Maersk does tremendous business in the Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean. They say they're going around the Cape of Good Hope. Hapag-Lloyd, tremendous business in the Caribbean, going around the Cape of Good Hope. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, that adds cost in terms of the time taken, in terms of the insurance, Mr. Speaker, sir. The consumer, when the consumer eventually gets it, is going to pay for that additional journey, is going to pay for the additional fuel, is going to pay for the additional insurance, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Internationally, also sounding the alarm is Patrick Gill of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce.
According to IMF data for today, the average ship movements in the area are down approximately 42% year over year. And while Canada operates few vessels in the affected area, the interconnected nature of international supply chains means that disruptions have a potential knock-on effect for the Canadian economy.
Canada and a coalition of countries, including the US, Japan, and the UK, issued a joint statement warning Yemeni-based Houthi fighters to cease their attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea on Wednesday. They say the attacks threaten innocent lives from around the world, disrupt important humanitarian aid, and increase the cost of international trade by driving up shipping costs as vessels face delays, longer journeys, and higher fuel costs to circumvent the key waterway. The Iranian-backed Houthi militants have stepped up attacks on vessels in the Red Sea since November to show their support for a Palestinian militant group, Hamas, fighting Israel in Gaza. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The daughter who followed her father's footsteps, Michaela Pandy, says thank you to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Wonderful. There are just no words. I can't say thank you enough to everyone who has helped us, and most of all the public and the people who loved him so much for the outpour of love. You know, people say when people send love to you, you feel stronger. We have gotten strength from the people of Trinidad and Tobago, my family, me. It's unbelievable. How do we begin to say thank you? So we say thank you on behalf of our dad as well.
Someone said to me this morning, a spectator, they expressed that, you know, when someone dies, then there's this big outpouring of support and all these flowers and so on that we give to them when they die. But when they're alive, they don't get that same kind of recognition. Do you feel that was true of your dad?
No, I think he got great recognition and love while he was alive, and he's just getting even more now, which I didn't think was even possible. So, no, he received love when he was alive completely, and even more so now. And again, I can't stop saying thank you so very much to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, north, south, east, west.
There have been calls for him to be honored with perhaps the naming of the Piarco International Airport after him. Do you echo those sentiments? Do you think that more than just the airport should be named after him?
You know, I try to think of what he would say if he was here. And he would say, what are you naming anything after me for? That's what he would say. Don't name anything after me. He'd probably want constitutional reform if he wanted anything. It was never about him. It was not about his name. It was always country before self. And therefore, what will help the country? He believed that constitutional reform would have helped the country, so that was what he would want. I'm echoing his sentiments as I feel he would have said.
And yesterday they decided to name Shiva Boys, to rename Shiva Boys Basdeo Pandey Shiva Boys. How do you feel?
It's great if it will inspire the youth, because he was interested in the youth and he loved the youth of this nation. He believed the youth was the future of this nation. He believes that education was the way out of poverty and how you can change your life and have control of your life. So it's a wonderful honor and we're very grateful, and I thank them on his behalf. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I just wanted to find out, are those your siblings?
Yes, I have. A lot of people don't know I have sisters. It is 4 girls, no boys. My older sister will be coming. Then there's me, and there's 2 younger. And I have a sister in the Defense Force. Yes. They don't make as much noise as me.
Yeah, you followed in his footsteps.
I followed in his footsteps. So I just want to say thank you again to everybody. The media, the parliament, the government have been extremely helpful. And when people have been kind and helpful to you, they must be thanked. And everybody came together, and the show of unity in this country, I wish he was here to see it. Thank you.
It was a busy night for police in Trinidad and Tobago as they responded to several reports of violence. More in this TTT News item.
This as investigations continue into 2 murders which took place in Trinidad and a shooting incident over in Tobago. TTT News understands that a man identified as Shekel George was shot and killed while at Upper Bellow Road in Belmont shortly after 7 p.m. Reports are that the 23-year-old died at the scene. In another incident, a bar owner was shot and killed near Price Master Hardware on Page Road in Tunapuna shortly after 8 p.m. He has been identified as 48-year-old Vikram Ramlal. Around 7:45 p.m., Ramlal was sitting on a stool near a table in front of a bar on the Page Main Road when a red Toyota Yaris drove up to the bar. A gunman got out of the car, walked up to Ramlal and shot him several times before getting back into the car, which then sped off. Ramlal was rushed to hospital for medical attention, where he died. And over in Tobago, shortly after 8 p.m., 2 people were taken to hospital after they were shot and wounded while in the Scarborough area. 1 man was arrested by police in connection with that incident. In more news, the spike in killings continued today with 2 fatal shootings in the North Central Division. Reports indicate after hearing several loud explosions, residents in the Mount Lambert area came upon the body of a man who was later identified by police as Afiba Moraldo. Mr. Moraldo appeared to have been shot several times. Police and emergency health services were notified, and officers of the Northern Division and the Homicide Bureau responded. Later in the day, around 1:30 p.m. in Port of Spain, opposite TGI on the Savannah, another man was shot. He has been identified as Akil Archer. Police are continuing their investigations into both incidents.
Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been criticized for a photo with a papier-mâché map including Guyana's Essequibo region as part of Venezuela. He termed the incident an innocent oversight. HGP's Shamar Ali reports the repercussions and the PM's response to the controversy.
A picture with Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, posing with a papier-mâché depiction of a Venezuelan map that includes Guyana's Essequibo region, has been making its rounds on social media. The Prime Minister, in a letter to Presidents Irfan Ali and Nicolas Maduro, said that the photo was taken in December 2022. He described the photo opportunity as an innocent inadvertence on his part. However, at a press conference on Thursday at the office of the President, Vice President Barjagdio said Gonsalves' explanation was credible.
What Ralph said, he didn't know I was there in front of him. And it's a credible explanation.
The VP went on to put his head on a block that Dr. Gonsalves would never pose for a photo, knowing that the map included Guyana's oil-rich Essequibo region.
I don't think that Ralph Gonsalves would knowingly pose for a picture with a Venezuelan map that shows Essequibo as part of Venezuela.
Amid increasing aggression by Venezuela, it was the said Prime Minister who managed to broker a deal to commence talks between the heads of state of the 2 countries. That meeting birthed an 11-point declaration, which includes a commitment from both sides to refrain, whether by words or deeds, from escalating any conflict. Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Shamar Allen.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Tillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.